So in the last couple examples, we've taken a look at what percentage of a population would be above or below a certain data point. What we can also do is figure out what percentage of the population is between two data points. Okay, so sometimes we want to know kind of what percentage of people or percentage of data points are between a low point and a high point, and we can do that using our z-scores. So we're going to take a look at here, if we want to find the percentage or the probability that a data point is going to end up between a z-score of 1 and -1. Now, 1 and -1 would be from here, there's -1, all the way to +1. So this area right here, we want to try to solve for what is that area right there. Now, using our regular normal distribution, we're told that that's about 68%. Okay, between 1 and -1, that's about 68%. Now, if we use z-scores, do we get the same values? Well, I sure hope so. Okay, what we need to do when we are solving this is we need to figure out what is a probability given for both 1 and -1 based on our z-score table. Okay, so 1 has a probability, I'm going to go to my z-score table, 1.00 is 0.8413. So this is 0.8413. We need to find our probabilities. And -1.00 is equal to, let's go to the negative side, -1.00 would be right here, 0.1587. 0.1587. And we want to find the distance in, or the probability that something's in between. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our high value minus our low value. So our high value, and that's in the probabilities here. So we're going to take a look at the probabilities, and we're going to do 0.8413 minus 0.1587. And if we punch that into the calculator, we get 0.8413 minus 0.1587 gives us 0.6826. So the probability that a data point will land between 1 and -1 is 0.6826, which, so this has a probability of 0.6826 or 68.26%, which is very similar to what we were told by a normal distribution. There we were told just 68%, but here it's just a little bit more specific, and we have a couple decimal places in there. So what that means is that to find the area between, okay, we have to take the top one and subtract the bottom one. So let's do that again here. We got another example that we're going to do that. We're going to do between 0 and 2.12. Well, 2.12 is the higher value, so we'll find that one first. So 2.12 has a probability. Go to our z-score table here and go to 2.12 is right here. So that's 0.9830. 0.9830. And 0.00 is, this one should become, so 0.00 is 0.5. Okay, so it's 0.5000. Okay, 0 is the mean. That means that half is below, so that's 50%. So that's why we get 5. So we want to find the percentage between 0 and 2.12. So then we subtract. So we do 0.9830 minus 0.5000, and this is going to give us 0.4830. Okay, so 4830. And when we have that, we can then say with at least some confidence that the we can go 48.3% of the data points end up between 0 and 2.12. Okay, so that's what we can say. This gives us what ends up in between. So in between will be the big one minus the small one. Now, when we have negatives, again, it works the same way, except that now we're going to end up having the smaller the negative, the bigger the value. So we're going to actually start with those. So we're going to do -0.76 has a probability up to our negatives, 0.76, right there, 0.2236. And negative 1.02 will give us negative 1.02 is 0.1539 right there. 0.1539. Okay, now again, we take bigger number, subtract the smaller number. 0.2236 minus 0.1539 is going to give us a value of 0.2236 minus 0.1539, 0. Don't really need that 0 there, 0.0697. So we can say, and again, this is with the certainty that we have here, that if we now change this, we're going to have 6.97% of the data will end up between negative 1.02 and negative 0.76. Again, now, to find just to the left or the right, we just find our probability and use that calculation, use that as our answer. If we're trying to find in between, we have to find both probabilities and subtract to find that inner one. So, as a little bit of a recap, when we wanted to find one here, we were given two probabilities. We were given, and I'm going to try to draw this out in a somewhat neat way. We were given the probability from 1 down. So we were given this probability and we were given this probability. Okay, so the first one was the long one, the second one was a short one. To find what's in between, we need to subtract the short one from the long one. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're taking the big probability, subtracting the small one, because the small one's the one that's kind of getting cut off. So that's how we find the probability that a set of data is in between two Z-scores.